Gather round and let me tell you a story of realms long forgotten. There are tales of the Forest Kingdom, a place of honour and chivalry, known to some as the Land of the Purple Dragon, but known to all as Cormyr.
Hi, I'm Tilda, and I'm playing Hiram, a half-orc paladin.
Hi, my name's Carl. I'm playing Catcher Donahue, a human bard.
Hi, my name is Anton, and I play Balthazar, a Warforged Cloak of Azuth.
Hi, my name is Al, and I'm playing Slate, a changeling druid.
Hi, I'm Matt, and I'm playing Zombo, who is a halfling rogue/warlock.
And my name is Dan. I shall be the Dungeon Master on this adventure. Good morning, afternoon, evening, or night, depending on what time of the day it is that you're watching this. Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Good evening.
How are you?
Are
all
we on the
doing?
Truman Show?
We are. Yes.
Oh, no.
Every day is the same.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. How are we all doing?
Yeah, doing pretty good, thanks.
Very good.
All good.
This is the almost last D&D session of the Cormyr Because of War campaign.
Spoilers.
Some people might call that the penultimate episode.
This is,
Yep.
in fact, the penultimate episode. Yeah, we're almost there. And I mean, not much has happened, really, over the last 42 weeks and the 45 weeks before we went on YouTube.
That's almost 100, wow.
Yeah. Not a whole lot, so it's going to be quite chill. I reckon this is the beach episode that you all deserve.
Thank you, dear man.
Finally, we made it.
It's been a while.
It
It's been a long
has.
time coming.
You know what? You guys have been through such kind of trials and tribulations that I thought it was only fair that we do a beach episode. Also, I'm lying. Who would like to play some Dungeons and Dragons?
I was going to say, what are beaches in the Underdark?
Horrifying, I assume.
The Shadowfell.
Shadowfell.
Sorry, what are beaches in the Shadowfell like?
The Shadow Beach?
Definitely won't get a tan.
Yeah, you get paler.
Get Moonburn.
You always get moonburn. You never ever leave with a tan, but you always get moonburned.
Right, let us begin, shall we?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Do this.
This is the beginning of the end. Within the morose world of the Shadowfell, the Warhounds begin on their final journey to stop the insidious Mindflayer threats and their leader, Ioulaum. Having rescued Balthazar's mind from the will of one of ancient Netheryl's original sorcerer kings, the Warhounds now make their way through this grim reflection of Suzail to the throne room at the heart of the royal courts. Accompanied by Raedra, Magnus, Helenus, Axakas and Arin to confront their foe, our heroes understand the ramifications of failure are dire indeed. Suspecting that Ioulaum is in possession of the powerful, mind-altering black diadem, the population of Suzail, if not all of Cormyr, is at stake. The Warhounds once again venture forwards unto danger in defiance of the odds, quite possibly for the last time.
Oh dear.
And so, we rejoin our heroes in a large kind of dining room area. You have all kind of picked yourselves up. You've prepared. You've between yourselves and Raedra and Magnus and Co. You have discussed the plans going forward. You know that the target, like the architect of this evil design resides within the throne room of the royal courts, which you know to be just a bit further over into the complex. Axcast and Hellenis, on a previous reconnaissance mission, have informed you that the central area of the royal court that houses the throne room is protected by some sort of divine force field of some description. It appears to be powered at 2 separate nexi. Through discussions of how to approach, you have decided to split into 2 groups. The Warhounds being one group, and Raedra and Magnus and Co forming the other. You will strike at these separate Barbicans, one the eastern and the western, in order to disrupt this shield. Attack the Barbicans in order to influence the machinations of the shield and expand the shields out in order to fundamentally trap yourselves in with Ioulaum. And with hearts full of anticipation, you have stepped forth from these dining halls into the royal courts. You've been given somewhat accurate, an exhaustive but accurate set of directions from Raedra, who knows these winding labyrinthine corridors well, and with you find you'll make your way to a junction, and you know at this point Raedra and Co will be heading left and you will be heading right. Raedra kind of looks to you all in turn and kind of takes a final breath, and you understand the direction she'll be going, yes?
Don't worry, yes, it's all up here.
She nods. So remember, the plan is to make sure Balthazar gets to whatever is holding this shield up and manipulating it to expand it out. Axicas and Magnus will do the same from our side. Then I guess we'll see you on the steps up to the throne room.
Yeah. See you on the other side.
Light will wave in rocky form. A rocky wave, if you will.
Raedra nods. Magnus steps forward, places a hand on your shoulder pad here, Anne, and also kind of looks to the rest of you. Good luck.
To you.
Try not to die now.
Wasn't planning on it, Katya, actually, he says, just kind of dusting himself off. The 2 women smirk, Aaron nods, and with that, the 5 of them leave. As they disappear into the darkness of the corridor, you yourselves turn to make your own way to the Western Barbican. So, you, following Raedra's directions, which are yes, surprisingly accurate and succinct. It takes quite a lot to remember them because, as I say, this place is very kind of labyrinthine. The tunnels, the corridors kind of turn and twist and weave. There are staircases down only to give way to staircases up, and it becomes all but impossible to kind of figure out where you are in this rat run of an architectural nightmare. But when you turn and taking the 12th door on the left, as per Raedra's instructions, you arrive in what appears to be a large ballroom. Purple and white patterned marble flagstones are underfoot. Ornate golden relief pillars hold a number of privacy balconies overhead. Long hanging curtains and banners decorate the walls. The awe-inspiring nature of the room would be impossible to ignore if it were not so heavily tarnished, unkept, and dusty. Feeling as if the life has been drained from every surface, you make your way inside. As the doors behind you close, you notice only too late but you are not alone. Misproportioned creatures with skin and stench that reek of misery and death begin emerging from the shadows. But as you stop and look at them, you notice that, for whatever reason, they appear to be eyeless. The holes where their eyeballs should be skinned over. And whilst they hold their arms up to their chests and stagger around, looking around with these forlorn looks on their faces, occasionally making low guttural moans into the darkness. You notice they cannot see you. As you watch, however, one of them bumps into a display table, knocking the vase from it onto the ground, and it's smashing, the sound echoing blisteringly loudly through this ballroom, and the creatures in the room turn to look in its direction and begin moving over to investigate the noise. As the creatures begin to wander to and fro and then discover there is nothing of importance at the sound of... You watch one of them pick up the porcelain pieces of the vase and then just start cradling them like a child. You realise that these creatures which emerge seem to be phasing in and out of the fog and gloom that fills the room. They stand between you and the exit. So everyone, if I can have a very quick initiative roll.
History check.
For the purposes of today, we'll be taking draw out.
Okay, that's not too. Oh wow!
you
So
got
clearly,
a
Draw
crit,
is
and he removes himself from the initiative tracker.
He just walks through with no problem. Just
yeah, but clearly, Draw is the one running around in circles.
He's a good boy.
So, for all intents and purposes, ladies and gentlemen, this is a skill challenge. A
Yay!
relic from the yesteryears of 4th edition. Now,
So I imagine the map is not to scale, right? It's
the map
not
is
a.
certainly not to scale. It is
It's
purely,
not 25 feet by 25 feet.
Yes, purely representational.
Okay.
So, in actual fact, let's do that. So, yes, you Warhounds find yourselves in this ballroom. You can see a number of the creatures kind of wandering around. In a skill challenge, everything is very narratively driven. In this circumstance, the aim of the game is to make skill checks to navigate your way through danger. Today, we will require 4 successes before hitting 3 failures. Failing a skill check does not necessarily mean that the adventure stops, but there will be consequences for failing. So, with this in mind, as the creatures begin spreading out through the room again, Katya, you are first. What would you like to do?
Catcher sort of sees that they're all moving about in a sort of particular way, and she sort of looks to everyone. It's like, well, when in a ballroom, and she's going to basically start moving through them, dancing and pirouetting through the around the creatures on her way to the other side, using performance. For 21.
21. Okay. So, Katya, you take a moment to look at these creatures as they mill about, and you notice that, yeah, the way that they move about the room, it reminds you of a noble dance that some people would drunkenly perform in fest halls across Suzail. And looking around, these look like perhaps these are lost spirits that have been twisted and changed by the nature of the Shadowfell. But as you recognize the dance they're doing, you're able to yourself dance between them.
I imagine she gets a little cocky at one point and sort of swipes her arm very close to one and then sort of pulls away. And she, for her first time, like, being able to dance freely, she seems to be unusually having a good time doing it as she gets across the room and then bows to the rest of you.
Okay. Slate, what do you do?
I have to ask, am I still in Earth Elemental form or am I in Slate form? I can't remember. It'll make things difficult now, but then it also means that probably down the line, then at least I've got...
You definitely use the earth elemental form.
Yeah.
Or the water elemental form, actually. That's what you use.
Ah,
Your-
yes.
Your water elemental. You
You whelmed.
Yeah, it hasn't been
Totally
an
whelmed.
hour. So, yeah, beg my pardon. I believe you would be a water elemental.
Oh, my temptation is I know this is skill check stuff, so I appreciate this might not be right. And if that's fine, I'll do an athletics, just proper straight run. However, otherwise, can I use water form? I know it says you can enter a hostile space, but I like the idea of kind of, just bloop, and like sort of, I don't know, whatever water does when it's trying to sneak. You're just watching a river and you're like, oh, where's it gone?
You're gonna go drop by drop, basically.
I imagine just turning towards, just flooding across the thing, watching all these ghosts falling over, and you just reform on the other side.
You by all means you can use your water form. Which skill would you argue that your water form allows you to use? So, for example, that sounds
frustratingly,
it sounds like
nature.
it could be quite stealthy.
Well, I like that more than nature, because nature I've got like -3. It's really not the best thing to be an elemental when you're trying to do skill checks, Anyway, let's go back to the show.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, if you're gonna say stealth, I think you're probably right. It's either gonna be a stealth or sleight of hand.
Okay.
Stealth. Yeah, I'll stealth along.
Okay.
Stealth along stealthily.
Stealth along
In a
stealthily. Give
gloopy
me
way.
a stealth check.
My stealth check is here.
17.
Hey, 17.
Okay, so Slate, you using your mutable form in elemental as an elemental, you manage to work your way through the room. There's a point where you have to stop because one of the creatures turns to look in your direction, just kind of gazing around as it hears the sounds of your kind of trickling as you kind of surge past. But that's 2 successes.
Sweet. I like to, when I get up into the thing, just kind of go, whew, but quietly.
Here I am.
Right. I don't think Hiram can be stealthy, and he can't dance.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, for the purposes of the skill challenge, as a tidbit of information, we are unable to use the ability that was most used by the previous player, and you can only use each skill once per challenge. So, thankfully,
that's fine.
Yeah.
What I wanted to say is, I think he will wait until everyone else has gone, and then he's going to leg it. Athletics. Okay,
give me an athletics check.
Yeah, but should I wait until everyone else is gone because he's going to be lagged?
If you roll and then we'll see what happens.
Okay. Please. 23.
23. Okay, so Hiram, you notice that some of the creatures have kind of started to disappear into the fog and smoke, and as you see Katya kind of pirouetting across the room and Slate kind of whelming across the floor and kind of sneaking around, you take your chance and gun it. Your armor clanks out loudly and the creatures turn and look in your direction, and you hear some ear-piercing screeches as it echoes out on the marble floor underneath. As you make it to the other side, you notice that the creatures are screaming and yelling, but the sounds of your feet are loud enough that they echo through the room, confusing the creatures that look around. They become frenetic and start kind of flailing around and moving in random directions, but you're able to avoid all of them. 3 successes. Zumbo looks around and, "Oh, for Pete's sake," he says as he watches you run off. And he looks to you, Balthazar, and, "Have you got any ideas?"
Go slowly and don't touch them.
He kind of Zumbo looks to you and yeah, that's right, stealth mission. But he says, "Gotta point no finger at you." He thinks about it for a moment and says, or he looks around and he kind of sizes you up and that way, he says, and points. And he's going to use his perception to pick out a route.
Nice.
Zumbo's a bastard. Zumbo is a bastard.
Through the vest, and he with you, he kind of leads you through, and the creatures which are like screaming as Hiram's like running begins to die down, the creatures are now being kind of drawn to themselves and the sounds of their own screaming, but you manage to Zumba manages to lead you, Balthazar, through the room.
Okay.
You make it to the other end of the ballroom, and the Warhounds proceed.
Woohoo!
Sweet.
We solved your getting
thought-
to the other side of the room puzzle.
I was gonna use perception as well. I was like, why didn't Zumba use stealth?
I came up with another one while we were doing it, and I'm like quite annoyed that I didn't use it because I've just realised that actually being an earth elemental, not great. Being a water element, well good. And that was going to be like either deception or like survival to do like a stone skipping thing to make it sound like someone was walking across the room.
There's more of these.
Oh well, then don't use my idea. I've already had it.
So, the five of you burst through the doors at the end of the ballroom, leaving behind the screeching and the screaming of the malformed creatures behind you. You follow Rager's directions a bit more, and you take a right, and then Katya, you're at the front, and you have to stop suddenly, as what should have been another large hall is instead a hole in the side of the building, and you notice that the route that Rager has given you is now entirely impossible to follow. As you stand looking down, you can see that following the routes will probably lead you to the bottom of this kind of tall to the bottom of this kind of ruined building, as it appears that the walls and the floors have fallen away, but you can see from your height a landscape of the city in front of you, the city which you believe to be called New Xinlenal. As you ponder whether to carry on or to climb down or turn back and try and find a different route, the sounds of the screaming and whining from the ballroom begin to get louder, and it appears that the creatures are beginning to follow you from behind, with little option but to go down.
Oh dear, oh
There is
dear.
approximately 4 stories of air between you and the ground floor. So, Balthazar,
Yes.
how do you start proceedings?
We have to go down. All right.
Yes, climb down the side of this ruined building, or make your way down the side of this ruined building.
Is there a staircase?
There is not.
Is there an elevator?
There is not.
Wouldn't it be a very good skill check if it was like, I take the elevator. Okay, don't roll.
I have a rope. Can I use my hempen rope, please?
What skill check does that unlock for you?
Knotting. But right, I don't know.
So
sleight of
It
hand?
will be.
you cannot
it will-
use perception,
Yeah.
but this counts as the same skill check as the ballroom. So
Now, I would say this is clearly a history check because Balthazar would have read a book on knots, right, in his lifetime, and therefore he remembers how to make a very good knot.
I mean,
Fast.
you could also argue he was on a ship, and he was the anchor.
Also,
I would argue that the tying of knots to make a rope sounds more like a survival check, Balthazar.
all right, that's fair enough. Actually, that's good enough. Let's do it. Normal, go. Yes.
Okay.
Nice.
16
So-
for 20.
As you hear the creatures coming behind you, you pull out your rope and you very quickly. You
I got this. I remember. Somebody taught me.
You very, very quickly kind of make the rope and you look around and you see the base of a broken pillar nearby, and you loop the rope round, pull it tight, and then you throw the rope over the edge and look to the others.
I've 100% tied the rope to myself, and I use it to go down.
Okay. So Balthazar,
the anchor knot. That's what we're going to call it.
So Balthazar has used survival. Katya.
So I can hear the creatures coming. How far away are we from the ballroom? Because if they're following us, we've got to still be quite close, right?
Well, given all of the echoing and whatnot through this area, it's very difficult to tell exactly how far behind they are. But you can hear them. That's the important thing.
Okay, because what I was going to do is she goes to the door, loot in hand, and she's like, let me see if I can get them to go the other way. And she strums as hard as she can, sort of several heavy chords, so to speak. Maybe she starts like, really doing her, her best Master of Puppets impression, trying to get the ballroom to echo again, and maybe turning the monsters around.
Okay.
Or at least enough of an echo that they can get confused in which direction. I was thinking deception.
Okay, roll me a deception check.
14.
You begin strumming, hoping to kind of have the sound echo and reverberate and confuse these creatures. Unfortunately, the open air behind you lessens it, and it draws the creatures towards you. You have your first failure.
Oh, no.
Slate.
Come on, plus 12 in that. I rolled a 2.
Okay. So that was deception. Can't use perception. That's been used already.
So the only ones you can't use are what was just rolled, which is deception, and any that you've rolled previously. So you've rolled stealth.
Cool. Okay, then for this one, I would like to roll for survival as a rope kind of traveling down thing. I feel like survival would come in that. You'd have to know. In fact, it's kind of like what the history would be for actually knowing it.
Sure. So.
Or if you don't want that one. Oh well, depend. I'll tell me how you feel first. Otherwise, I can.
I would. I mean, yeah, you can use survival, or nature. I'm guessing. I mean, you're a water elemental, right? So I guess you just soak into the rope and drip down it.
I like that idea. That sounds better than what I was going to come up with. Yeah, you do that. Do that.
Okay.
You do my rolls, and I'll just sit here because.
No. I want to give you. I want to give you a chance. So, roll me a survival.
Cool. Fingers crossed. Yay! Thank you so much, DM Dan.
That's you're
all my success is due to you.
Okay.
Good old 24.
So you're on 2 successes. Hiram. You've just watched Slate absorb into this hempen rope that is currently pulled taut by a Balthazar, and Balthazar's about 2 stories down as he gently lowers himself down. It's impressive how strong this rope is. But you see Katya panicking as sounds of the wails grow louder.
Okay. I would like to... In a sense of coming from kind of this way, right?
Correct, yeah. Like
Okay.
from whence you came.
Okay, I would like to stand there, just hold my sword and kind of roar at them to intimidate them.
Okay. Roll me an intimidate.
Yeah, I mean, with the full light up sword effect and everything. Why do you have a book of cheese and sausage and jar of jam?
They're just falling out of Balthazar.
Fair enough.
Oh, that's making me hungry though.
21.
Sweaty cheese.
Okay. In which case, as you kind of watch and you know that they will be on you before you're ready to climb down properly. So as you hear the kind of what it almost sounds like wet slaps as these creatures run down this corridor towards you, you see one run past where you're standing, and then kind of stop and like turns and kind of looks back to you and kind of barrels towards you, arms kind of flailing behind it, as others kind of slamming behind it. You fight, and the corridor is filled with these creatures barreling towards you, kind of eyelessly, like roaring at you as they come. As you level Orbin at them and your sword kind of the runes illuminate these creatures, and you bellow a challenge. The creature at the front flinches and kind of rocks back, creating a bit of a traffic jam as they all kind of bump into each other and begin kind of clawing and tearing at one another. You see one tear the arm off another with its teeth. But you've successfully slowed them down. That is a success. Zumbo looks to you here, Rabbit. Are you just trying to call all of them here? He kind of.
They are coming here anyway. Just get down.
And he looks at his abilities and. I don't think anyone's used athletics. So, Zumbo looks at you and hurry up, he says, and he leaps from the ground, grabs the rope and just kind of slides down, using his peg leg to stabilize him, using his experience as a pirate to head his way down. And with that, as Zumbo makes his way out, he kind of gestures to you as well. And as you make your way down the rope, and Hiram, you kind of swing and kind of stave off the creatures long enough that you're able to also make your way down the rope. You have completed your 4 successes, and you may continue.
Hey.
You all reach as you reach the bottom of the ruin, like Zumbo catches up with you, Balthazar, and just kind of and like as he starts like donking you on the helmet with his peg leg, to try and make you go a bit faster. As the 5 of you are on the rope, you're some distance above the ground floor, when the rope suddenly goes slack in your hands. And Hiram, you're at the top of the rope, and you look up just in time to see the rope has snapped under your combined weights, and you fall the last remaining part of the descent. As Balthazar hits what should be the ground floor, the floor gives way, plummeting you all into a dusty darkness below.
Uh-oh.
Oopsie.
You emerge in what appears to be the dungeons of this place. You're not sure how much time has passed as you all kind of come to, but the air is full of dust from the ages and dust from the rubble that surrounds you. As you kind of blink and pick yourselves up and look around, you notice that there is next to no light down here. Hiram, even with your kind of enhanced eyes, it's difficult to make out what's happening in the gloom around you. But as Balthazar's staff glows and light emanates out, you notice that the light doesn't seem to be projecting very far. It appears that the darkness is pushing back on you. As you look around, you take a chance to explore for a few minutes and notice that the exit out of these kind of dungeon, catacomb, whatever this place was or is, your way is barred by what appears to be a heavy portcullis door. And as you look at the door and figure out how to get past it, Katya, you notice something flicker past Balthazar's staff. And as you peer at the spot, you realise the shadows are beginning to move.
Ooh.
And they begin enclosing in on you. So, in this new area, could you please roll me initiative again?
7.
Oh no. 3.
Ooh. 7.
Oh, wow. 7, 7, 7, 3, and 16. Okay.
Lucky 7s.
Okay, so in this dark and twisted place, this dark and gloomy dungeon underneath the Shadowfell version of the Royal Courts, you require 6 successes before you acquire 3 failures. With that in mind, Zumbo looks around and, "Oh bloody hell!" he says as he looks backwards and forwards. He will. So this is a new one, so everyone can start using their old abilities again. Zumbo has a quick look around and, "There must be some sort of contraption to open that gate," he says, and he will roll a perception check. And looking around, he kind of starts gesturing into the darkness. "Check over there, over there," he says. That is 1 success. Next up is Hira. Notice that these amorphous shadows are beginning to swarm around you, and you see that they kind of reach out towards wherever Balthazar's light isn't, but they appear to be growing bolder and bolder by the minute. What do you do, Hira?
I would like to swing at the one closest to me.
Okay. In which case, please make me an attack roll. 22. Okay, so you notice as Balthazar's holding his staff out, trying to wall them away, you see with your dark vision that one of them is sneaking up behind him, and you see these kind of thin, wispy, tendrily fingers reaching out for the back of Balthazar. As you lunge in and swing the sword of state to and fro, the light from the runes wards off the shadows as well, and they as they disappear, as they retreat back. But whenever you go to press the advance, you notice that the shadow appears to be gone. That is 2 successes. Slate.
I would like to attempt to pull the door apart with a good old-fashioned athletical strength check.
Okie dokie. So Slate, as you head up and using your powerful strength to pull the bars across, please roll me a check.
Ah.
Okay.
Just can't get my watery fingers into it.
Yeah, as you kind of envelop these bars and you go to pull at them, they're sturdy enough that your form just kind of phases through them and you can't quite get purchase. Unfortunately, that is our first failure. Katya.
I think Catch is going to do is play it uber defensively and avoid the shadows at all costs, using her acrobatics to move nimbly through them.
Okay.
Maybe even climbing up some of the tree branches and sort of like leaping off them.
That sounds good. Yeah, the dungeon is full of these kind of odd, slimy, tentacly roots that seem to emerge, that seem to push up and around.
I touched the roots, now Vecna knows where we are, damn it. That's a 23.
That is a success. So as Slate tries to open up and kind of turns around and makes a noise at you, the shadows begin to lunge at you, and you manage to duck out the way. That is 3. Balthazar.
Trying to think of what I can use. Can I use religion or history? I'm not sure in which way. By making a elaborate speech on why they should not attack me. How about Aegis? Can I use Aegis and make a religion? I guess what would Aegis be?
So Aegis, I would argue, is Arcana, but
Yeah.
I mean these are creatures of shadow. I mean, I'm sure you could make an argument for something religion that isn't the Aegis.
Can I? What have I got? I don't really have much. Maybe I should just use a spell slot.
Thingies? Or are they
All right,
like...
let's use a spell slot. I'm going to use Fairy Fire.
Okay. That will give you access to Arcana for sure. What level are you casting it at?
That's just first level.
Okay. In which case, please make me an Arcana check.
So I get advantage.
So using Fairy Fire at first level will allow you to use Arcana.
Boo. All right, let's do it. Yeah.
Okay.
23.
So as you turn and look and you see kind of Katya ducking out the way of shadows, you bring your staff up, and what color is your Fairy Fire?
I guess the same blue as his staff and his eyes.
Okay.
And I'm just gonna spray the Fairy Fire at the shadows.
Cool.
Nope. Hopefully they don't like it.
So as you shout out to Katya and she ducks out the way, this kind of blue flame rolls across the room and highlights the outline of these shadowy creatures. And whilst they don't appreciate or notice what's happened, but now you're all able to see these creatures as they try to kind of blend back into the shadows, but they can no longer, in effect, disappear into the darkness as you've marked them, making it significantly easier to avoid to know where to kind of wave your light source to kind of send them off. That is a success, Balthazar.
Sweet. Very good.
Zumbo looks around and I'll do it myself then, he says. And he will. Has anyone used stealth this turn?
No.
Tell you what, Zumbo runs between you. Now he can see the shadows. He also kind of ducks and dives, and he follows what he saw from the mechanism from the door, and he follows it round, and then there it is, and he pulls a brick out of the wall, and there are a number of kind of cogs and levers, and he looks and this one, and he rolls a sleight of hand to manipulate, using his thieves' tools to kind of work on the mechanism. You hear a loud clank, and a cog flies out of the mechanisms in the wall. And Zumbo looks to you all, and I meant to do that, he says. That is a success. Hiram, what do you do? It appears that Zumbo has jammed or done something to the mechanism holding this portcullis closed.
I'm trying to think what would be the best way to help him with that.
I mean, if nothing else, the portcullis looks very heavy.
I can lift it. I can just go for a strength check.
Or an athletics check? I don't think anyone sees athletics. Unless you want to keep that for later.
Failures are we on?
We are on 1 failure, 5 successes. We need 6 successes to escape.
Okay, I am going to be honest. I think I'm going to keep my my best skill check for later when we still have 2
Sure.
failures.
Yeah.
I don't like how you're smiling.
No, it's fine. What do you do?
Any ideas from the team?
What other sort of like strength-based checks do you have? Actually, you've got good. After you went on.
Yeah, recite poetry.
Recite poetry.
Yeah.
Why?
I mean,
How is that gonna help?
Probably isn't.
inspirational. That's what it
Yeah.
is.
There
You're
you
being
go.
inspirational.
Slam
Wait,
poetry to smash the gate open.
Exactly what Hiram sees at this point. Again.
So, there are about a dozen shadows that are now outlined in a blue fiery glow, thanks to Balthazar. They're kind of like ducking in and out, trying to kind of grab and lunge at you to try and absorb like your life force. But Balthazar's able to kind of keep the vast majority of them away with his light source. Katya is busy kind of ducking out the way. Zumbo's just pulling gears and sprockets out of a wall, hoping that one of them will make the portcullis go up. Slate's trying to pull the thing apart, the gates, the bars apart, but that's not working either. Yeah.
Mutter off a quick prayer to any god that's listening, and then try to lift the portcullis. And I would like to use religion as a skill check.
Okay. Which god? Is there any in particular that you're praying to?
I am not picking anyone who listens.
Okay.
Helm, Torm, like kill him off. Bane.
Now, just a dear god, whoever you want to be.
Sure. Okay, so as Zumbo turns around to Iram, do something! He shouts. As you close your eyes and you just kind of you pray and you hope. And as you approach the portcullis, Slate kind of Slate's a water element, right? So Slate just phases through the bars, and then between the two of you, you manage to grab them and roll a religion check.
17.
And your fervent resolve in, if nothing else, yourself, allows you to lift this heavy, rusted iron portcullis above your head, and as you roar for everyone to make it through, everyone is able to duck through as you complete the 6th success. And after Balthazar steps through and sort of like holds his staff out, you yourself step through, and with a loud crash, you let the portcullis go. It slams to the ground, and you watch as these shadows kind of lunge out towards you, but for some reason these metal bars appear to be holding them back, and just arms come through and begin trying to grab and claw at you as you kind of back away and make your way up the stairs out of the dungeons.
Hey.
Yeah. Hiram is going to look up and say, still not going to church.
As you say that and you carry on, it takes a little while for you to gain your bearings, but you soon realise and make your way. Well, you begin to make your way into what appears to be like one of these internal courtyards. Slate, it looked very, very similar to the courtyard that you yourself found yourself in when you were last in the royal court in Suzail. And the courtyard itself is open air, and you can look up into the sky above. Overhead, you see this kind of the large tear into between the Shadowfell and Suzail. You can see that sickly pink beam of energy rising from the throne room. It looks significantly larger now given your proximity to it, but you can clearly see now that it is piercing through the veil and then just kind of dispersing across the city of Suzail. Also overhead, a number of red dragons fly overhead, kind of swoop past and begin clashing with more mind flayers. Those of you who are more astute can just about make out Karnoth on one of the dragons as he and the dragon, he flies up to one of the nautilids, and you see the dragon kind of tearing and clawing at the side of this great ship. But you watch as one of the tentacles reaches out, wraps round his dragon, and there's a crunch and a snap, and the dragon and Karnoth are released, and they begin plummeting to the ground. As this happens, you hear another closer roar, but this one sounds wrong. Ooh. And as you turn to look at the end of the courtyard, a figure, a claw, pulls up a shape that looks down into the courtyard over you, and your stomachs rise into your throats as what appears to be a mind-flayed dragon peers at you in the courtyard.
Oh no.
As it looks down at you, you can see that there, instead of the spines along this red dragon's mouth, they seem to have replaced with kind of small, slimy-ish tentacles. The red hues of its scale have become a sickly, purplish greyy pink. And it looks to you with dead, white, milky eyes. And as it and drops down into the courtyard with you, it begins to give chase. So, Slate, what do you do?
Sure.
What do you do as the brain stealer dragon begins chasing you through the courtyard?
Oof. I would like to use my watery form to kind of distract them and kind of move from side to side in a deceptive manner.
You would.
Okay, roll me a deception.
I hope this works. 19?
So, this creature starts like stomping along the dead grass of the courtyard underfoot. You notice that its wings are like atrophied and broken, and it appears to be just kind of slumping around, almost like on stumps. It snaps wildly at you, and as you kind of expand and contract and change your shape, your sudden movements make it turn to look in your direction, and it as it comes for you instead. With a 19, that's a success. You've successfully distracted it. Next up is Katya.
Imagine with everyone sort of looking at this thing like, Katya grabs hold of Zumbo and she's like, just run that way, go that way! While Slate's got it distracted, she's going to try and persuade him to go the way she'd like him to, away from the beast.
Okay.
19.
Okay, so it's Zumbo that you grab, but like Balthazar and Hiram also turn around and see you shout it, and like you kind of gesture over to, I guess, like the far side of the courtyard that's got a bit of cover.
Just along the edge, like behind the pillars, and
okay. So as
those statues that are just in the right shapes for the Warhounds.
Okay, so as you do that, the creature distracted by Slate, you manage to convince the others to make their way across into safer positions. Balthazar, what do you do?
Balthazar is just running away as fast as possible with an athletics check.
Okay. Please make good. Yeah. And you take one look at Katya, you take one look and you off you go. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I say Katya, you take one look at this mind flayer dragon. And you are off.
Yeah. Balthazar does wonder if he has a brain or not. Do I have a brain? I'm not sure.
So, as you begin to make your way across the courtyard, this dragon in hot pursuit, Zumbo's running along, like, kind of ducking between like ducking behind bushes and benches where he can, holding his hat to his head, shouting, "Since when do they have dragons?" He says as he's going. He will, as he says that, he then takes a leap and disappears into a bush. Unfortunately, he gets stuck in the bush. You just see his legs kind of waggling as he kind of bounces off it. So, Zumbo making a racket draws the dragon's attention. That's a failure, unfortunately.
Boo.
Hiram.
Zumbo.
Go, Zumbo. Oh, what do you like?
Almost, you wanted me to use up athletics in the previous room, knowing this was coming up.
He knew. He knew.
Yeah.
You can use it though.
You can use it now.
Oh yeah, I'm using athletics. I am.
Go, Hiram, go!
No.
Oh,
Oh no. Oh,
Hiram
no.
gets eaten. Oh
12.
god.
Oh, that's bad. That's bad.
So,
That's my plus ability too. Is it because I said I'm not going to church?
so Hiram, as you put your head down and go to make off, but as you're running along the edge of the courtyard, your foot lands on a loose flagstone, and it slips out from under your foot, and you go crashing to the ground. That is a second failure.
Oh dear.
Well,
Slate.
big finale, guys. Eaten by a really, really cool dragon, by the way. Like disgusting,
Really?
but very cool.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Cool and gross.
Yeah, I think it looks very sluggish. Maybe someone needs to salt it.
What does Slate do?
In my watery state of trying to get it chase around and hopefully keeping it on me, I will look out for anything that might ensnare the dragon. I see it's got some tendrily things on, so maybe look for something that's like jagged, jutting out of the wall, and try and kind of make it follow me to there. So that's my perception check, please.
Okay.
Oh
Do you have like inspiration or something?
no!
Well,
Whoops.
That's
Yeah,
3 failures. Oh,
okay,
shit.
Dan. What you gonna do now?
What am I going to do now? So, Slate, as you look around for things to kind of snare this dragon on, you hear a crash, and you see Hiram kind of like tumble to the ground. He picks himself as Balthazar kind of picks up Hiram, and Katya, you manage to retrieve Zumbo from the bush. Slate, you seeing everything kind of going a bit wrong behind you, you turn to look just in time to see this dragon rear its head back, but instead of its throat glowing, its eyes begin to glow. As it lowers its head and looks at you intently, it fires off a devastating, you see the air ripple as it mind blasts in your direction. It
Whoa.
catches you all. So, please.
Oh yes, intelligence.
Oh no, intelligence.
Okay.
What?
So Hiram rolls a
A six.
6.
Oh, we're not selected.
Where
I
is it?
have nothing
There.
to add to this. Okay, well,
15!
Oh my god.
15 as well. So we
Okay.
just saved.
So we have Hiram on a 6, Katya on a nat 1 for a 2, Slate on a 15,
Oh,
Balthazar on a
shit.
15,
Yeah.
and
Get
Zumbo
stunned. Oh my god.
on a 22.
Oh,
Phew.
Okay, so the blast deals you all, and it will be full damage for everyone, 33 damage to everyone,
For everyone. Cool.
as this dragon rocks you with the mind blast.
I have to say, annoying. However, I was on 66 health points. So 33 is so beautifully symmetrical.
And as this happens, as a dragon blasts you, it kind of reels back, flails its head around, it focuses on you again. As it lumbers forward a few more times to get at you, Slate, Balthazar, and Zumbo are able to kind of get Hiram and Katya through the end of the courtyard, and you manage to get far enough into the corridor out of this courtyard that the head of the dragon kind of smashes through the masonry to snap at you, but you're able to escape just in the nick of time.
Woo.
Ew.
As you emerge from the courtroom, you realize that you are at the Western Barbican, which is the destination that you are trying to reach. So for the purposes of the first round, Katya and Hiram will be rolling at disadvantage for this first check as you shake off the effects of the stun.
So this is 8 before 3, Dan?
As you enter into the Barbican, This one was what appeared to be once an arts gallery of sorts. The paintings and sculptures that used to the sculptures that line the pedestals are all faded, broken, ruined in various ways. The gallery itself is 2-floor, and you appear to have entered in on an upper floor. As in the set, there is a lower ground floor. But more importantly, the room pulsates with this kind of dark energy that appears to be emanating from this beacon in the center of the floor downstairs. Surmising that this is in fact what's keeping up your half of the force field, you know that Balthazar, you take a look at it and know that this is what you need to recalibrate in order to extend the shields out. As Slate, as you kind of tends to, like Hiram and Katya, just kind of splashing your own water onto their faces to kind of bring them out. Zumbo kind of looks up and his face goes a bit white, and he, I don't mean to worry anyone. And he looks up and points. Well, that ain't right. And this floating fleshy mass floats down from the ceiling. There are a number of tentacles which flail from the top of this thing's form, which houses a single large eye. The eye itself is milky white, very much like the Mind Flayer dragons in the courtyard, or Mind Flayers in general. You notice that there are smaller eyes on the tentacles that adorn this thing's head, and those eyes are also dead and milky. A number of Mind Flayer-like tentacles hang from the bottom of its mass, and it floats down and it looks at you silently as it just watches you for a moment before suddenly the eye tentacles on the top of its head begin to point in your direction. So, Katya, as you see this thing, and your head is pounding and you can't see straight, but you can see it, and you just know deep in your soul that this thing is bad news. You have disadvantage on this roll, and we require 8 successes before 3 failures. What do you do? This is a new room. Everyone gets all of their abilities back.
Oh, fantastic. I'm going to start off by being someone of psychic persuasion. She's going to appear that she's been affected by the blast more than she has been. She's going to use a deception.
Okay.
For 26.
Nice.
Oh, okay, so you notice that one of the eye stalks turn to look to you, and you blink a few times, and as you look at it, it looks like those creatures that you've heard of called beholders, but it appears that it's almost like a Mind Flayer version of a beholder, which sends chills down your spine. But as it looks to you, and it appears to be scanning you all in turn, and as you kind of fake some additional wooziness, you notice that it seemingly turns its eye stalks to more mobile opponents. That is a success.
Awesome.
Balthazar.
I'm going to deploy the Aegis.
Okay. That will give you... and what are you planning on doing with it? Just kind of protecting your allies?
Yeah, I think so.
That sounds like that will unlock Arcana, and as it's you can use it 3 times a day?
Once you activate, you must finish a long rest before you can use it again.
Oh, long rest. Okay. In which case you will have advantage on this, as it's such an expensive resource.
Yeah, let's use it. Okay. Arcana advantage 21.
Okay.
Good.
So
Good.
Balthazar, you look up at this creature as it floats down. You recognize this as a Mind Flayered beholder of some sort. You believe the term for a creature like this is a mind witness. And
a mind boulder, yes.
And you knowing what's about to happen, you focus, and the magical shield erupts from you just as a number of beams fire from the eye stalks in your direction, and they kind of reflect off your Aegis. That is a success.
Sweet. Very good.
Zumbo. Zumbo turns to you all and says, I'll distract it from above, he says. And he turns around and you see him looking at the walls, and he begins kind of climbing the rough-hewn stone walls to get above the creature. And like some of the eye stalks turn to look in his direction as it starts firing kind of eye beams at Zumbo. He kind of ducks around, and you see him leap off the wall and swing off a rusty chandelier, which kind of drops slightly under his weight. And he just about manages to avoid the eye beams and manages to distract the Mind Witness. That's 3 successes. Hiram.
Okay, team. There is absolutely no way I'm going to be able to do a succeed when I'm at disadvantage. Do I want to push my best ability, or do I just not care and use a dumb one?
Well, if you
It's
use,
the last skill.
If you use your attack, even with disadvantage, you've got quite a high sort of additional.
That was my
to it.
thought. Do I basically attack, or do I just go? I don't know. I use medicine, which I have nothing for.
No. Use attack, because then your bonus should hopefully offset the. Which is kind of what I did with my one. I relied on the fact I had such a high number to offset the disadvantage.
You have never seen me roll, Carl.
You never know.
Okay.
The passive bonus might be enough.
Spend some smites, maybe. Spend some smites.
I think
I have nothing, Anton.
the tank is empty.
Oh dear.
I have no spells.
Oh dear.
To smite, I can't do anything.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm not sure
Yeah.
I didn't have a long rest since for like 3-4 episodes.
3 hours
Yeah.
ago, correct? Yes.
Hmm.
Yes.
I'm going to use Orben. at this
Okay.
point.
That sounds good.
Disadvantage. That's a 19. Unnatural.
No, you missed out the crit. Oh, that's fine. That is fine. So, as this creature kind of angles up to look at Zumbo kind of jumps around above it. You take that chance because I say you're effectively on like an upper floor. There are balconies, there's like walkways. You take a chance to. You shake your head. You see where the Mind Witness is. It doesn't appear to be looking quite in your direction, but as you run, you jump and leap off one of the banisters, and you swing Orbin, and you cut into the side of the Mind Witness, which spirals and screeches. You hear a screech in your minds as it telepathically kind of roars out in pain. Hiram, that is a success.
Good. Although, the waste on natural 20 on this weapon, like it does such beautiful damage. Oh wow.
Okay, we are at 4 successes and we need 8. Slate, what do you do?
I would like to use my insight to gauge which of the eyes are planning to attack and who and where, and then avoid them to do a slam attack.
Okay.
A multi-slam attack.
Okay, so you're rolling an insight, yeah?
Yeah, please.
Okay. Roll me insight. Oh, okay.
Funny.
So, it spins round to face Hiram, and like you kind of watch as it moves, and sort of like you've been watching how the eye stalks have just been kind of like moving around and looking at various people. You realize that a number of the eye stalks hone in on Hiram, fire, and like Hiram rolls out the way just in time as one of the beams hits the stone floor Hiram was stood on and disintegrates it.
Ooh. Okay, I know what I want to do then.
And well, with the insight, you want to lay into it, yeah?
Well, no. With an insight, I want to tie up some of their eyes together.
Okay. Well, in which case, yeah, you kind of as it's distracted by Hiram, you kind of wait for your opportunity. You swarm up and just kind of envelop some of its eye beams, you envelop some of its eye beams, kind of glom over it. Some of the lasers start firing off, but you notice that some of them just kind of like fizzle and don't really do anything whilst encased in your form. But with a 20 on your insight, that is a success.
Tie up the eyes. Tie up the eyes. I want them to be tied together. Like little bows.
Katya.
I imagine now that it's written her off as a threat. Katya slides off into the corner. Starts looking for any sort of psychic thread she can latch herself onto. And if she sort of finds one and grabs on, she's like, "Oh, this is dumb." And using her memory of the few conversations he's had with Ioulaum, she's going to do a performance of Ioulaum's command. Basically, that it's disappointing him, and it should really try and shoot that dragon statue instead, because that seems to be the real threat in the room.
Okay.
And I wonder, does my actor seal come into play here? Because it's still a performance trying to emulate someone.
So
would that mean I have advantage?
No, actor would give you access to performance in this circumstance. In the way that you've described.
Boo. Okay, so I will do a performance.
Okay.
For 30.
Okay, so as you telepathically project your practice voice of Ioulaum into the mind witness, you notice that the mind witness just kind of goes a little bit stiff. And Katya, in that moment, you look at it and it almost seems like you're watching. It's like a soldier standing to attention to receive orders. And the mind flayer, the mind witness, kind of looks around. The main eye is still looking around, but you notice a number of the tentacles kind of currently absorbed, like glommed over by Slate, turn to face this dragon statue, and some of the beams start firing off. Some of them pierce out of your hide, Slate. But you watch as the statue is struck, and then it's wrenched off the wall and crushed, and then rubble and dust drops to the ground as the mind witness successfully completes its task. That is a success. Balthazar, the mind witness seems to be thoroughly kind of occupied. In the lower ground floor, you can see the focus of the shield that surrounds the throne room. What do you do?
So what needs to be done with that focus? Do I need to activate it, deactivate it, break it?
So it looks like it needs to be manipulated in some way. You know that it is magical and it appears to be infused with some sort of dark divine magic. You suspect Sharon.
That sounds like Arcana to me, but I just used Arcana, didn't I? With Aegis.
You did, yes.
Can I use History?
You can do. I mean, there's
Perception, Religion, to manipulate the object.
You tell me.
I'm going to use History. I'm going to think back about what I was told about the object and how to manipulate, and looking back on scrolls. So
okay. So as you jump down into the lower levels, and you find yourself like there are extra runes on the ground, and it's a large kind of stone obelisk with a number of kind of dark crystals which are thrumming with energy. Roll History.
Let's go. Ooh, boo, 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 boo.
Okay. As you stand there, like you go to draw on the things that you've learned about kind of Sharons and their magics, but as you look at it, your heart drops as you realize this seems to be written in some entirely alien language. Like the text seems to be in lines of four, like groupings of 4 lines, and none of these runes make sense. And as you panic, that is your first failure. Zumbo.
We were so close to a clean slate.
Hey.
It's because he's water elemental.
So Zumbo, you're in the group chat, aren't you, Slate?
Everyone's in the group chat.
Okay. As you start shouting out, you're just kind of singing to yourself, tie up his eye stalks, tie up his eye stalks.
Tie up his eye stalks, make them all shiny, swing them all around inside your belly. Yeah, that's
you hear Zumbo go, I can't believe I'm saying this, but that actually sounds like a good idea. Out of the way, Slate! And as you look up from the chandelier that he's hanging from, Zumbo leaps off, like to jump onto the back of the Mind Witness, and then he kind of grabs two of the stalks and then starts, and that's trying to twist them together like unruly ropes on the ship in a storm. So he's going to use Sleight of Hand.
Yay!
And as you kind of cushion his fall, allow him to sink down onto the Mind Witness before you kind of make room for him, Zumbo successfully manages to tie some of the creature's eye stalks together.
I like to think it's because of the instructions in my song.
And then there's this moment where Zumbo just stands up and realizes he's riding a floating Mind Flayer Beholder creature, and he and starts ducking as that eye stalks start trying to fire lasers at him. Hiram! We are on 7 successes. What would you
I have
like
a very,
to do?
very stupid idea.
Uh-huh.
Feel free to shoot it down, by the way. Hiram is going to grab one of the eye stalks,
Yeah.
bite it to assert dominance over it.
Is that an intimidation?
Yeah.
Okay.
Nice. Like it.
I'll roll for it. Okay, here we go. That's a
Oh.
He's a good guy.
Okay, so Hiram, you see Zumbo on the back of the Mind Witness. You also try to jump up to, if nothing else, I guess, weigh it down. But as you jump, one of the tentacles underneath the Mind Witness like sideswipes you and knocks you off course, and you crash into one of the balconies. And you are knocked over the balcony, and you kind of slump down into the lower floor with Balthazar.
I don't suppose I can argue for an advantage just because of all the crossed eyes and everything.
Unfortunately not,
Oh,
not in
well.
this instance. That is
Oh, it's down to Slate.
Slate.
Say, do well.
You are... This is it. Your roll dictates whether you succeed or fail.
Go big or go home.
I would like to just go normal and go home, hopefully, because that's what I can do. And I will choose to try and perceive how we can get out of here without dealing with this bloody mind flayer. Mind
Witness.
witness.
Mind witness, correct. So you're perceiving
Perceiving
a solution.
exits. Yes, some sort of exit that is means we can get out of here. So looking for some sort of, I don't know, eye stabby thing that just does like multi-stabby eye things at the same time, or
That sounds good. Roll me a perception.
come on, no.
Oh. Okay. In which case, as it's like you kind of look around, and you look up and you
Before
see
you continue,
yes.
do you know what we haven't done before? We haven't given out any inspiration, and the song that Elle did was very inspirational. Come on, Dan, you have been torturing us for too long.
It's cop out.
No, I think it was a good song as the party bard.
And
I was
to be
quite
fair,
inspired
there
by
was-
it,
there was
and
no
I sang it.
inspiration for a while. I think it's kind of deserved.
On a 11 to 20.
I inspired Zumbo.
Literally.
On an 11 to 20.
Okay, I accept this.
That's fair gamble. Oh,
You have inspiration, Slate.
Nice. Can I use my inspiration, please?
I think you should keep it. You should keep it for later. I think there's a big battle.
Why you
outside.
should-
Ioulaum will gain inspiration as well. You may attempt your perception check, Slate.
Oh no!
Oh, there is nothing
That is the
more for
funniest
me
thing
to
I've ever seen in
do.
my life.
A natural one.
Dan, you killed us. You meanie.
Whatever. That means we have an extra day off before the new campaign.
So, Slate, as you look around, your eyes are drawn to the chandelier that Zumbo was just swinging off of, and you realize that the it's slumped when Zumbo was on it, and like the rope that's holding it is heavily kind of frayed and very fragile. You tell Zumbo to jump off. Zumbo kind of jumps, but as he goes, the eye stalks that he tied up unravel, and as you kind of who would it be? I think it would probably be Zumbo. So Betty looks up, spits some water at this rope, which has enough force to snap the rope holding the chandelier. As the chandelier falls down towards the Mind Witnesses, which is directly below it, it doesn't fall quick enough to stop the Mind Witness hitting you all with eye beams.
Oh dear.
Ooh.
That sounds cool and terrible.
So it fires out a psychic ray against all of you, and you will all take 16 psychic damage as it slams each of you with one of its eye beams before the chandelier collides with its form, and it hurtles towards the ground, and there is a splodge as this chandelier mushes it into the stone floor, and ichor and bits of Mind Witness go kind of flying everywhere as this spoked chandelier effectively slices it into cheese quarters, cheese chunks, and like stalks fly and flop down and cover you in blood and gore as you recover from the psychic blast. But at that moment, Balthazar, you remember the incantations you're needing. You like realizing you can't read them from the runes, you just remember, you just draw on your memory, and you're able to use some of the spells and magics that you've learned in your time as an archivist. And as you manipulate the pillar, the runes begin to shift in their shape, and as you kind of make your way out, you notice that the shield around the throne room is beginning to move towards you. And before long, you are enveloped as the shield passes over you, reforming, and you can see that there is nothing but air between you and the main court, the main royal court where the throne room is housed.
Healing long rest there.
No, unfortunately not. As you head towards like the royal court, heading up the sort of like the pavilion in front of the steps to the royal court, like the throne room, you see a number of figures also heading over, and you notice Raedra, Magnus, Axakas, Helenus, Aaron. They are joining you as well. They look significantly worse for wear.
Ooh.
Oh god.
You notice that Axakas is limping, and Aaron is spearless.
Oh.
But as they arrive, Magnus looks at the shield, and we did it. There's just one thing left, he says as he looks to you all. And Raedra looks you up and down, and how do you fare? Are you ready?
No. Let's
I'll shrug my icy shoulders.
So as you all make negative noises, Raedra's jaw kind of clenches, and she nods in understanding. And as you all look up to the throne room, the steps up to the royal court, ready or not, this is it, she says. She takes a deep breath and begins walking up the steps into the central royal court. As you look to one another and then follow, we'll grab a 10-minute break.
Ooh.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
See you in 10!
Hey, Balthazar!
Yeah?
Look, I want to show you something.
Okay.
Look.
Yeah.
Look.
Yeah.
Look.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Hey? See? I'm you.
See, I don't think that's quite right.
Well, it feels right.
You don't look like me, but you do look like a subscribe button. Can I click you? I'm gonna click. Oh, I'm gonna click you.
No.
Welcome back, everybody.
Hello, Dimdan.
Hello.
Oh,
We rejoin our adventurers as they head up the steps of a dark and twisted reflection of the royal court, knowing they are within meters, yards of the throne room, what should be the throne room. The sky immediately overhead is illuminated with this pulsating pink light which rises from the building you're about to enter into the coloured tear of an upside down Suzail overhead. You regard one another as you head up the stairs. You feel tired. You feel strained, but you know that you have to carry on. As you reach the top and step through the doors into the royal court, could everyone but Hiram deafen themselves? Hiram, you feel a rush through your head, and your world goes a bit blurry for a second, but as you blink a few times, and when you look around, you find yourself in the Silver Sword estate in Suzail. And as you peer around, you look down, your armor is polished, cleaned, repaired. It is in immaculate condition. The sun streams through a window up ahead. A window onto the balcony that you know overlooks the promenade, or the street onto the promenade in Suzail. And looking around the room, it appears to be your grandfather's study. You see the smiling faces of the other Silver Swords. Arvin, Helena, Gavin, Janina, and finally Gareth, who appears to be smiling the boldest. And there is a look of sincere content in his eyes. You take a breath and you find yourself walking towards the windowed balcony door because you know it is time. And you feel a hand on your shoulder stop you. And as you turn, you see a feminine half-orc face looking back at you. And your mother embraces you, holds you tight. And a tear rolls down her cheek, a glistening tear of happiness. As you look at her, as you look into the eyes that you know you haven't seen for years, but it feels like you've seen them every day of your waking life, you turn and look, and off to the other side is Emily. She's grown up. She proudly wears a knight's regalia, and she looks at you with a smile as she nods in a thanking manner. With a smile on your face, you step through the balcony door onto the balcony to the sounds of cheers and celebration. And looking down onto the streets of Suzail, you see a host of civilians and nobles alike, all looking up to you and crying out your name in praise. And as you look down into the crowd and you raise a hand to wave, You notice there's someone stood next to you. It is an old man in a robe, a long greying beard emerging from it. And the figure looks to you. This man is old beyond any reasonable comprehension, and he looks to you with deep pitted eyes and says,
"Through your deeds and acts of valor, you will be praised and exalted, worshipped as an immortal champion. All will cry out the name Hiran with joyous tears. You will be like a god to them. All I ask is that you kneel to me."
what do you do?
I look around and then turn to him and say, I don't want to be a god. I don't want all of this.
Think of all of the change you can enact with the power that I will freely offer you in my new world.
That kind of power should not belong to one person. No,
You refuse me?
I do.
The man stares at you, and the vision fades. If you could pop yourself on this. Hello, El. Slate. You step through the doorway and you feel a rush through your head. And as your vision blurs and you try to ground yourself, as you open your eyes and the world comes to again, you're standing in a long hall with a high vaulted roof overhead. The decoration is breathtakingly beautiful. Beneath your feet is a long red carpet that stretches out to an ornate door at the end of the room. To either side of the carpet, you see a number of loyal retainers, and they all look at you and bow in reverence.
Finally.
As you look on the walls are adorned with a number of portraits. You see a portrait of Chiron, Ameline, Rufus, Rowan, every other form you've ever taken. As you look up, you notice that at the end of the carpet near the door are three figures, and you recognize them to be Joy, Promise, and Reverence, the three changelings you freed from Brilella all those months ago. You notice that they stand dressed in fine, noble attire, but more importantly, they are in their natural forms. To the side of them, cheeks flushed with joy and happiness, is Barrent's, Baz. You've never seen him glowing with such happiness as right now. As you begin walking along the carpet towards them, you feel a weight on your shoulders, and as you look behind you, you notice that trailing behind you is this long and heavy cloak. And as you turn back round, there is a retainer in front of you with a crown on a cushion. The retainer curtsies as you take the crown, and in this moment you notice you too are in your natural form. Your alabaster skin in stark contrast to all the vivid colours that fill this place. And as you place the crown upon your head, the changelings and Baz part out of your way as you stride through the ornate doors that open as you approach. And as you step into light, you hear cheering crowds as you step into the throne room. Your throne room. And as you take a seat on your throne and look across your adoring citizens, you feel a presence just to your left, and you turn to look, and there is an extremely old bearded man in a dark black cloak, and he's hunched, stood beside you like an advisor.
The fame and power you so rightfully deserve will be yours.
Makes sense.
No longer will you have to hide behind the faces of others. You will command their love in your own form. They will bow to your every whim as their immortal ruler. You will be like a god to them. All I ask is that you kneel before me.
Kinda defeats the purpose. Also, I would like to say, don't have to hide. I'm just expressing myself in different ways. And also, you're extremely somber for the occasion. Everyone else is dressed up nicely. You're wearing a very dark outfit. Bit odd. This is my, special day.
Think of everything you can change with the power I offer.
I mean, I'll probably do this anyway. This is bound to happen in my life.
The man looks at you.
You refuse my offer.
I don't know what you're really offering here. Again, this is gonna happen for me. I just have it written into my stars. I don't really know what you're offering, and also, again, you really didn't dress for the occasion. So I don't really think you're the right person to be. Okay, so let's just say I was to take you up on it. What would be the downsides? Because it feels like, A, you've already made me kneel, and I was like, no, I don't want to kneel to anyone else because that's what I'm supposed to be making other people do. Just not getting your bribe here. I mean, it does look very nice.
All I require is your compliance within my new world.
Did your world have anything to do with the world we were just in? Because that was... didn't look great, I will have to admit. Quite depressing. The dragon was pretty cool, but also quite scary and just a bit icky.
The figure glares at you for a moment, and with a snarl, the vision fades.
Ah,
If I could get you to pop on Deafen, please.
subjects, my beautiful subjects.
Hello.
Hello, Balthazar.
Hello, Dimdan.
Balthazar, as you step into the royal court, you feel a rush through your head. Your vision goes blurry, and as you stagger for a moment and try to focus, when you look up, you hear the sound of bird calls. You see rolling hills, farmland. There is a strong, homely familiarity, and looking around and looking at the buildings, you realise immediately
It's Half Hap.
you are in Half Hap.
Ooh.
As you look backwards and forwards, you find yourself walking towards your home. And as you make your way in, you open the door, step in, and everything is as you remember it to be. Off in another room, you hear a voice that you love so dearly, as Daisy calls out to you. I'll be out in a minute, she says. And as you turn to look, the door opens, and Daisy steps out, but you notice that she looks very similar to yourself in your current form. She is a construct of sorts. She appears to be made of metal. She has a very naturally formed looking face. She looks like your wife. She is the size of your wife. She appears to have been constructed beautifully. And as she looks to you and tilts her head and smiles, you hear more footsteps run into the room. Papa is home! Papa is home! And you watch as two smaller Warforged run in and look up to you with expressive faces, and they give you a hug. And as you look down, you notice that you are in your Warforged body. As you look around, you feel this kind of warm sense of kind of pride and familiarity on the table in your book corner, your research corner. You can see the research notes you made on this nation-changing discovery. And looking out the window into the fields you just came from, you can see other figures in the field tending the crops, also in constructed bodies. And as you bend down to scoop up your two children, and Daisy looks at you imploringly, there is a figure behind you to your left. And you turn to look and see an old man with a greying beard hanging from a dark hood, with deep set eyes. And he says,
You who have experienced and denied death shall know naught but peace and love. Knowledge of your immortal existence will spread, and they will gladly mimic your evolution to a higher form. With your wife transformed at your side, you will be like a god to them. All I ask for is that you kneel before me in my new world.
what do you do?
That's not real life. That's not half-hap you showed me. It's not the real version of those things. That's not Daisy. What you're showing me isn't real.
With the power I can grant you, it can be real. All I ask for is your compliance.
I don't want it.
You refuse me?
Sure.
The man glares at you, and the vision disappears. If you could redeafen yourself, please.
Redeafen. Hold on.
Hello, Catcher.
Hello, DM Dan.
Catcher. As you step through the doorway into the royal court, you feel a rush through your head. Your vision goes blurry as you stagger and try to focus as you look up and open your eyes. You find yourself in a dark, ambient room. You can hear a hushed chatter behind what appears to be two large red curtains which are drawn in front of you. And looking around, you appreciate you are backstage at the biggest performance of your life. As you look down, you feel this burning confidence flow through your veins, and you know that in this moment you can do no wrong. And as you smile to yourself and go to step forward through the curtains, you're stopped. You're stopped by a voice, and turning to look, you see your best friend, Cassandra. And she gives you a wink and, "Knock him dead," she says with a smile. But more importantly, next to her, smiling, is your mother. And as you step through the curtains and you see a crowd, not a crowd of a size not gathered since the early ages, and they all cheer as you emerge, and they begin chanting your name, and as you take your lute up and prepare to play, you see a figure in the crowd looking up to you. This is an old man in a dark robe, a long greying beard emerging from it, deep set dark eyes. And he says to you,
"The will of others has taken much from you and your life. I would raise you to an ascended form, able to reshape histories like the stories you sing. Immortal in body and soul, and with your mother at your side, you will have the ability to change the course of reality, much like you do through your world-renowned storycraft. All will marvel at your capabilities. You will be a god to them. All I ask is that you kneel before me in my new world."
what do you do?
She starts playing a song that is quite complex, but the way she moves her fingers it makes it look like it's not that complex really, but the song that comes out seems to be much better than what it looks like she's producing. And she's like, the moment I saw my mother, I knew something was wrong with this. And then you started talking, and then I realized I'm going to be famous anyway. I don't need you. Every struggle, every difficulty, every lost freedom, as you put it, has made me stronger and has given me a new story to tell. I intend to be the most famous bard when I tell the story of how the Warhounds kicked your ass.
The figure lowers its head and glares at you.
"You would refuse me?"
You're in my mind right now, Ioulaum. It should be you bowing before me. Like, imagine, at some point, some of the clouds start clapping along to her song. She tries to change the narrative.
The figure glares at you, and the vision is gone. If you could remute, please.
Matt has entered the game.
Hello, Zumbo.
Hello.
Zumbo. As you step through the threshold into the Royal Court, you feel a rush through your head. Your vision blurs and you stagger. And as you try to refocus, you find yourself swaying. The smell of salt air striking your nose, and you find yourself at the helm of the grandest, largest ship you could possibly dream of. The sounds of seabirds overhead echo out, and you see your crew toiling like a well-oiled machine below you. You know that the hull of your ship is filled to the brim with plunder and loot, and no one dares take it from you. And as you sail on to your next destination, of which you have free rein to pick, you turn to see a figure in a dark robe next to you. a long greying beard protruding from the hood. And the figure looks to you and says,
Long have you sought respect and loyalty as a free man. I would make you into the loved, feared ruler of the seas, both of this world and others. All will know of your coming, and none will resist your immortal command. You will be like a god to them. All I ask for in return is to kneel before me. What do you do?
I think he would look out wistfully over the scene, and his eyes would linger on the horizon. You can see him, really struck by the possibilities of what's being said and what's being offered. But then he'd give a little smile and, thing is, mate, I ain't really in the habit of kneeling. Never got the hang of it. And what the Warhounds have taught me is that actually I don't need anyone else to do those things. They've shown me, with them by my side, I know I can do anything I set my mind to anyway. So thanks, but nah, I'm alright. Not today.
There will be no boundary you cannot cross, no riches you cannot take.
Yeah. And once upon a time that would have been enough to sway me, but well, I never thought I'd catch myself saying this, to be honest, but I reckon the Warhounds have shown me there's more to life than just plunder. Don't tell them I said that, mind.
The figure looks to you.
You would refuse me?
Sounds like it, doesn't it?
The eyes on the old man narrow, and the vision disappears. You all jolt as the visions clear from your minds. And as you look to one another, you realise that the five of you and the other five, Raja, Magnus, Axcas, Helenus, Aaron, are with you as well. But you are not where you expected to be. As you look up, you feel the presence before you see it. And you find yourselves at the end of what appears to be the throne room of Suzail. It stretches out before you. The galleries to the flank on either side's broken, the chairs gone. Where the throne should be is a large glass orb within which floats a grotesquely large brain. There are a number of tentacles which reach from the brain to the edges of the glass, from the glass orb out. Overhead, you see some sort of platform has been constructed over the brain. It appears to be some sort of focusing iris, and from it you can see this pink beam of energy rising up through the shattered ceiling above. The roof of the throne room is gone. Above you is nothing but the starless night and the rift into the material world. And as you look upon this brain and you feel this oppressive psychic pressure begin to push down on you, you hear a gasp from Raja. Chained and on his knees in front of the steps up to this Elder Brain's orb is Ezered. And he looks up to you and he is beaten, bloodied, and broken. But as he looks up, there's a look of sorrow and regret on his face. I didn't mean any of this, he says. You watch as you try to gather your bearings. You watch as a small four-legged creature with a torso for a brain for a torso skitters into view. It walks up to Ezered and then vanishes. You watch as Ezered's head jolts. He thrashes wildly before going limp. You watch as his hands raise up as if he, like a limp puppet, as he's raised telepathically, and the shackles around his wrists are released. And Ezered's head raises, and there is a dead look in his eyes as he stands up. And he looks to you all. My master, Lord Ioulaum, welcomes you, he says. And with that, we will call it there.
Oh dear. Boo.
Well, I guess
We'll
that means
take a long rest.
When we are dead.
It's the longest rest you can do.
Exactly.
Party time. You can sleep when you're dead.
Congratulations, everyone.
I don't congratulate us.
Completing the beach episode.
On
Hey.
completing episode 42.
On a scale of like 1 to 10, how sassy was everyone in that sort of like private moment?
I was pretty sassy.
Yeah.
0.5 max.
I kind of sassed up to 10.
Okay.
So, yes, thank you everyone for jumping in. Yeah, we're here. We're at the end. We're at the finale.
Righto.
So, it'll be relatively little ceremony. Thank you all for playing. Thank you all for watching. If you like what we're doing here, we have loads of other videos on the channel which we release weekly. We have a podcast. It's great. It's got me, Carl, and Anton in it. You should listen to it.
Yep.
We have some guests as well. They're also great. You should follow all the stuff that they do. And you should also subscribe, because then that will make you feel like a stand grand person. So, guess I'll see you all later.
Yeah. Till the end. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
See you after a really nice long rest.
Manifesting that long rest.
Bye!
Bye.
All roads have led the Warhounds to this moment. In the heart of a twisted shadow of Suzail, now named New Xinlenal, our heroes stand against Ioulaum's physical form. How can they prevail against such a powerful foe? Come back next time to find out. We have finally arrived at the finale. It's been a real labour of love to get this far, but it's been worth it every step of the way, especially due to the support we've had since we started. Thank you so much for being here with us. If you like this video, make sure to hit the like button and leave a comment down below. We have lots of other videos on the channel, one of which you can find right here. The best thing you can do to support us is to subscribe by clicking here and hitting the bell icon for notifications of new uploads. So, with that said, thank you once again. Stay safe, and as always, may the realms endure.